don't want to hit anything. Oh, almost there. Looks like we made it. All right. Hey! Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jade Monkey. We're back here in DayZ, talking about DayZ 1.19 experimental and both the full release. When this patch is going to come through, we have a date, what the wipe status is going to be, current status of the game currently, how it's playing on experimental, what things to look out for, and a basic overview. So let's jump right into it, shall we? Yes, and by the way, there's this beautiful Humvee right here. Very, somewhat of a rarity on the map, as there's only 3 allowed per map, so Livonia and Chernarus, wink wink, nudge nudge. And also right behind here, this is, I don't know, a bunker? Pretty crazy, right? Okay, so let's go to the more breaking news here. Okay, from the DayZ official account, they've said 1.19 stable release wipe news. We are pleased to announce we are aiming to release the stable version of 1.19 on October 18th on all platforms PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. Because I know PlayStation doesn't currently have experimental available just because Sony doesn't support that. Because believe you me, if they did, we'd all be playing it on experimental right now. Deep breath. Wipe update. We've decided to increase the wipe to full wipe. Characters and map, Livonia and Chernarus. We also advise community servers to do the same. So it's now going to a full wipe, and they're shooting for October 18th as a full release. So again, a lot of PlayStation people came in during the live stream because we're playing it over on Xbox, checking out the experimental stuff, and they're like, hey, when's this coming? And I was like, typically it's like a handful of weeks. So and judging based off of the stability from the actual experimental version, because functionally there's really no difference between the PlayStation and Xbox version or even the PC version. Like, yes, there's some subtle differences, but as far as like the vanilla, I mean, they're functionally the same. So things are looking quite promising. So like if there were a lot more bugs, I'd be like, I don't know if that's a realistic date or not, the 18th, but it definitely seems like it will be. Yes, there's a few bugs to kind of iron out, but for the most part, like the vehicles have felt really good. Again, I'm on a next gen, I'm on a Series X, but still the equivalent would be a PS5. Things are a lot different, I think, in a good way for vehicles. Yeah, so we'll go over it here. We've got like a nice overview, and we'll talk about it a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and leave this beautiful machine in the screen here. Okay, let's go ahead and hit the overview. It's something we have not hit yet. Oh yeah, by the way, before we get into this, if you're a new player, you're looking for a player guide or a beginner's guide for DayZ, I'm going to go ahead and link that now in the upper right-hand corner. And if you want to watch the rest of this video, don't worry, we'll link the same video on the end screen as well. You know, just so you kind of know what's going on, or even if it's been a while, because things are a lot more difficult and things have changed if it's been a hot second since you played. Just saying. Okay, 1.19 experimental release. I gotta remember to breathe. Very exciting. Greetings, survivors. It's been a busy 3 months, but we've made it. Allow us to present the first experimental build of the upcoming game 1.19, live right now on Steam and Xbox. Don't worry, PlayStation, this still applies to everybody because it's coming on the 18th. This update is definitely one of our biggest since we've released Livonia DLC. It was hard to hide our excitement, which you probably noticed during our various teasers and streams we provided in the past few weeks. Unfortunately, we are unable to provide access to the Livonia DLC on the experimental Xbox branch. That is a confirm. That's why sometimes we're over here on the PC. This is on Livonia. It's impossible to cover everything in this blog post, but we will outline the most important parts of the build, along with our intentions behind some of the changes. As usual, if you're interested in checking out the full list of additions, changes, head over to the forums, or I actually did a video on this already with the full patch notes. I will go ahead and link that now in the upper right-hand corner, if you want to go check out the full list. Okay, let's give it a nice little, man, this thing is so dope. Humvee for life. Okay, let's start with something everybody will notice immediately, changes to the player's physical movements. Yes, our primary focus was fixing a variety of bugs and issues, some of which were exploited by players to gain an advantage over others, i.e. clipping through terrain and static objects. This is a big one. This helps, the cheaters, right? Like the exploit cheaters. It's always good that they're staying on top of that. That's beautiful. Mwah, chef's kiss. We've also looked into the issue where falling off edges was pushing the player far too forward, geez, and decreased their speed quite a bit. This means players won't be falling that far anymore, which will hopefully result in far fewer random deaths from stepping over tree trunks while going downhill in a forest. This will also make jumping more relevant. Just think how many times were you going down like a steep hill or like one of those steep sniper towers, and if you kind of move too fast or hit the wrong thing, you would just kind of go flying forward. It's going to fix that kind of stuff. So, welcomed, very, very welcomed. We've also looked into an issue where falling off edges. I think we just got that one right. Yes, we certainly did. Okay. We fixed an issue that now allows players to move faster up and down hills compared to flat terrain. This doesn't mean we've slowed down a player more when you're walking through rough terrain. While it's something we'd like to do eventually, but it's beyond the scope of this update. So yeah, movement's the biggest thing. Just think about this for a second, and they're going to cover more of this, and this is one of the biggest changes we ran into almost immediately, because we're always trying to do PvP. When we're playing on the live stream over an experimental, it's a lot of, like, you can still juke people, but you're not quite as lightning fast, and things are more deliberate. Like, you can still definitely knock somebody out with a shovel, for sure, but it's not as easy as it once was, if that makes sense. Which is good, because honestly, a lot of times, if you have an AK, you should just be able to tip the muzzle over and just smoke somebody. So I think that's a welcome change. It's different. If you've been playing for a while, it's going to feel different. But you'll see they've added some changes in that I think will be nice for community servers as well. So let's go ahead and go through the rest of it. So basically what I'm saying with this movement changes, give it a chance. I think you'll like it. It's different. It's definitely different. Moving through water was looked into as well. We didn't really like that somebody could just sprint through water. So we've decided to implement a restriction on hip level, making it so players are forced to walk or jog if sprint modifier is being used. Lastly, we looked into restricting player movement while they're in a sprint. We felt it was far too easy to maneuver at such speed. This is what we're talking about. So we increased the inertia of players' characters. This affects both the time it takes to reach full speed or stop, as well as changing direction while in the sprint. We understand that such a change may not suit all communities out there, so we've spent some time implementing parameters in the server-side JSON configuration, making it possible for server owners to tweak to their liking and revert to the previous state if so desired, which is tight. I think that's great, because there's some really cool, like, combat-type servers on community, and I think people would like that, like old change, because, I mean, there's some, it's fun, right? Speaking of characters, we've added a new and optional on-screen bleeding indicator, which should make cuts more noticeable, and also allow players to learn about the amount of sources and their severity without looking on the HUD. Yes, bleeding is a problem. Not a problem, but like, it seems to go faster, and it's a welcome change, because you kind of know, like, when it's happening immediately, and you really want to address it quickly. So it's gone through a lot of changes, the bleed system, and both the survivability of this game. So just know there's a tweak to it, and it's got the indicator, so that's good. Aside from changes concerning characters, we've also implemented the highly anticipated vehicle simulation upgrades. I gotta tell you, feels real good. We were able to drive around on stream, not a Humvee yet, but we're able to drive around what was it, an Olga? Felt really good. Again, I'm on a next gen, so obviously I clearly have an advantage, but I really think things are different, like the way the car drives, the way it shifts. It feels better. It feels like maybe we can do some more with uphill stuff, because there was definitely some vehicles that lacked in that department. The Ada, what was the other one? Was it the Gunter? Was like pure trash on anything inclined. Like even a speed bump, it was real bad, right? So I think it's going to change a lot of those. Haven't had a chance to try all the vehicles yet, but they do feel like really good changes, and probably the most stable I've ever seen the cars up to this point. And we played it on an active server, and this was on the console side. So very, very promising. Highly implemented. We've also implemented the highly anticipated simulation upgrade. With integration to the latest version of Infusion's vehicle, we've integrated the latest version of Infusion's vehicle simulation into DayZ, thanks to the tremendous help of the Infusion team. I gotta tell you, it's great. The primary goal is to resolve long-standing stability issues found in the vehicle simulation. Again, like I said, the most stable I've ever seen it. We've been playing this since it came out, both on PC and on the console side. And again, probably the most enjoyable so far, and the most stable we've seen it. We used to have flying cars. That was the thing. This is quite a huge change, so vehicles will feel different, and hopefully they'll be more fun to drive around. I can confirm that so far. And we've had some like crazy like traffic on the servers too, as far as like people. So the driving was still stable, even though the servers weren't that stable. So that was very, very promising. I'm not going to say it's absolutely perfect, but I got to tell you, considering what we've driven through in the past, I welcome it with open arms. Along with the new simulation, we've also introduced the ability to have an automatic transmission. This guy. a handbrake, a car horn. The vehicle HUD has also received a much-needed update and now offers drivers more information about the state of their vehicle. Experimental testing is in the next big step for this huge chunk of work, and we're looking forward to your feedback and results from the stress testing. We have a dedicated server running the Chernar's terrain. We also have a much simpler to find working car to drive around. You can find it under the official tab, PC, DayZ EU, DE 3524 Experimental, Unstable, Inland, Spawns, More Vehicles. Modding. We got some basic stuff here for modding. It's talking about different things. This, I think, mostly for PC, but there's definitely some stuff on the other side for, I think, the loot economy. Okay, so this update also focuses on the Livonia DLC terrain. We've implemented dozens of new places to explore and perhaps a few puzzles to solve. As with both of our terrains have received new dynamic events. As with an update, you can find new firearms as well as some other new items, which will enrich the overall sandbox. We hope you're going to have a lot of fun exploring the new content on the experimental servers. As usual, if you find a bug or have any sort of feedback, please let us know through the official channels. Thank you. See you in Livonia, survivors. And you can see the new rifle here. Actually, I can whip it out. You got the new helmet. Looking real good. So yeah, that's what's cooking so far. We've got that wipe coming through for this particular update. It looks like towards maybe like 2/3 through October. So definitely welcomed. Be sure to come by. Good reason to subscribe. Be sure to come by for the live streams. That just scared me to death. I don't know why I did. It shouldn't, because I just ripped a shot. So hey, if you're a new player and you're looking for ways to survive, or you're getting clapped and you can't survive longer than like 10 minutes in a game, well, let me point you towards the beginner's survival guide for DayZ. We'll throw it up on the end screen now. All right, we'll see you guys in the next one. Love you. Bye. We should be live streaming this quite often and have some of them juicy guides for you. Stay tuned.